So good morning, everyone. Welcome to a Brilliant Businesses podcast. My name is Nick Bryant, and I'm so pleased to be joined today by Larry Hardcastle from Studio 44.
Good morning, Nick. How are you?
I'm very well, and how are you?
Very well indeed. Thank you very much.
Pleasure. Good to see you. We're going to start off by Larry telling us his story about how his business all came about. Larry is a bit of a legend in Tunbridge Wells, as far as I'm concerned, as far as web design agencies go. And the reason I say that is because he set his business up when he was 14, when he was at school, right? 14.
Seems a long time ago now.
I bet it does. So I wonder if you could share with us how that all came about and how it's grown to where you are now.
Yeah, gosh, cast my mind back. It was really around the time that computers really started becoming that much more popular in home, I guess. I remember when we first got dial-up internet.
Yeah.
For those of your listeners and viewers out there who remember that side of things. And I remember sort of first getting broadband as well, which was terribly exciting. So I was always interested in computers, not so much the internet initially, but then my grandfather was very involved in the recording industry, both locally and internationally, and he had a range of very bespoke sort of educational recordings on, it was actually on reel-to-reel originally, which is obviously rather old. Yeah. They'd been converted onto records, and what we did is we converted them onto CD and then started selling them via a website. He said, do you want to set up a website? And I had to play around and did some HTML and came up with this site, and we started getting orders from the States, from Australia, and we were selling these CDs, and I struck a deal with him where rather than getting paid for the website, I got paid per sale. So all of a sudden I started earning this sort of little bits of commission here and there, and age 14 I thought, this is interesting and probably worth exploring. So I sort of took it from there, started doing websites for friends and family. I also did a bit of IT support. I supplied broadband. I did sort of bits and pieces of everything. And the business just sort of grew from there. I went to uni.
Yep.
There was one course I wanted to do, and I thought if I get accepted for that, I'll go. If not, I'll carry on with the business. And when I graduated, I thought, shall I carry on with the business that I've been running for however many years now, or shall I get a proper job? And I thought I better just try carrying on with the business for a bit, and here we are today.
Amazing. I bet it hasn't come with or without its challenges along the way.
Oh no, absolutely. I think that one of the most memorable moments actually is taking on the first team member. It's fine when it's just you. It's pretty straightforward. But one of my best friends from school, James, who I know you know very well as well, we both graduated at a similar time. He was working in Starbucks. I was running the business, and he'd always been very creative and technical as well. We'd worked on sort of IT stuff at school together. Yeah. And I said, look, why don't you come and work with me, and we'll see if it works. And that was sort of the beginning of growing the team. Doug, who you also know, came up. We were all friends at school from the age of 13. Doug was working in the pro shop at the golf shop, having done a marketing degree. He then came on board in the business development role, and that was over a decade ago in both cases. Yeah. So we've all been working together as a management team for a very long time, and now have a wonderful team around us.
Yeah. So you're three different characters, right? They've got three different skill sets, because completely. That's really how a good business is going to work and grow. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and people always say don't work with friends, but we found completely the opposite case. We know each other so well that we know how to work well with each other, but we're also really good at separating work and non-work. When we're out of work, we completely switch off. Yeah. And I mean, touch wood, I can safely say in however many years we've been working together, we've not had one disagreement. So long may that continue.
That's really cool. Yeah. So how big is your team now? How many people you got on board?
So we're 9 at the moment.
Excellent.
So we're not as large as we have been in the past, but the team is working fantastically at the moment. It's been really interesting to see, because the last couple of years have obviously posed a challenge to business generally. Everyone's been working from home. We're still not back in the office, in fact. Okay. And what we found is actually everybody's working much more effectively from home. They can work to their own schedules. They can do their own timings. They can focus on what they want to be focusing on. And the impact it's had on the business has been massive. So we're in no way minded to make any change to that, because everyone has just been working so hard. A couple of our new joiners have never been in the office-based setting. One of our new developers is actually very remote to the business, but it works brilliantly. We're making the most of Zoom and all those sorts of technologies, and as long as we can get people together for socials and get people sort of seeing each other now and again, it seems to be working really well. So it has been an interesting 18, 19 months.
That was one of my questions again is how you got through COVID, but you kind of just answered that with what you said. But it's been a struggle. I mean, did work drop off, or I mean?
I was about to say exactly that. So we sat down as the three of us as everything kicked off, and we thought, right, we're going to have a dry spell, and we thought, okay, we're going to use this time. We'll work on our own website. We'll work on internal projects. We'll use this time. Did that happen? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Excellent. I think we had a quieter week that week when everyone was panicking, essentially. But from there, what we found is that clients were actually using the time to invest in their own sites and to spend time. We had clients come back who we hadn't heard from for 2-3 years. So all of a sudden had a bit of time in their diaries. We were finding it easier to get hold of people. So it's been strangely productive in so many ways. And we still haven't launched our new site. So
you must have no time. It's interesting actually, because the people that I've interviewed, and I've asked that question too, they've all spun it into a positive, and it's all they've found something else within their business. They've taken a different path. I guess for you guys, because it's web, people are sitting at home or sitting and think about what they're going to do whilst COVID is happening, and then they're going to plan for those things. So that went in your favour, I guess. So,
and there's been more reliance on web, hasn't there? Whether it's retail or businesses generally, where people haven't been able to be out and about, they're online. So it's made that web presence even more important. Yeah, and for e-commerce as well, because obviously that's gone through the roof. So do you obviously build e-commerce sites and absolutely, and a large number that we're actually in the process of scaling up our e-commerce capability, because we're doing so much business on that side of things, and got some clients doing incredibly well in the e-commerce space. So absolutely.
Excellent. So where do you get your business from? How do you market yourselves? Obviously, great podcasts like this.
Brilliant businesses. There we go. That ties in because, awareness on social media is so important for us, because we want people, when they come across us, to have seen us on all these different channels. So that's massively beneficial. I do a lot of networking, as does Doug. We're both BNI members. So we see a real great chunk of business coming from there. But so much of it is from client referral as well. We do a lot of work with other agencies, believe it or not. But that then leads to client referral. And also... increasingly, we're doing multiple projects for single clients, so we just scale up, and that's a really nice way to work, because we're doing larger volumes of work with smaller number of clients, which is a nice model for us.
Yeah. So as far as you mentioned about working with other agencies, so your competition in the area or locally or nationally, really, you kind of work with them rather than looking at them as competition.
We don't see many, if any, other agencies as competition. We find a collaborative approach works best, because we all have our strengths and weaknesses in terms of what we do, whether that be technologies, sectors, whatever it may be. Take, for example, we're very close friends with Yo-Yo Design in Tunbridge Wells. They're a brilliant agency. Jenny, who runs that, absolutely lovely. We work really closely together. On paper, we would look like competitors, but we don't touch similar projects. So they're able to refer on to us, we can refer on to them, and it's a really nice working relationship, and we'd always much rather work on that basis rather than competing with people.
But if someone wanted to use you and they're searching around, they're looking at the websites, what makes you different? Why should they come to you? Sorry, I put you on the spot.
Not at all. I think it's the way we like to work with clients, and we're quite upfront about it. We want to work with clients who trust us to deliver their objectives. So what we try and do is we tie in with what they want to achieve, and then we work with them to deliver it. If they want to say, move this a pixel to the right, move this a pixel to the left, we're probably not the best fit for them. If they want to say to us, we need this to be delivering X amount more in sales, and let us then get on with the way of doing that, that's going to be the better way to work. So it's sort of more of a mindset thing more than anything else. And so what sort of, I guess you work with any business, so there's no niche that you work with. It's any company that wants a website, right? Absolutely. And it's those ambitious companies that are looking to achieve something by it. If someone just wants to be online, we're probably not going to be the right fit. But if people are ambitious and wanting to grow, whether that's sales volumes, number of inquiries, whatever it is, that's where we tend to find we fit best, because that's what we're geared up for.
So what about the future? What does the future hold? Where's the growth? What's going on? What's in the plans?
Oh, goodness me. Well, I think a lot of what we're doing at the moment, and some of our most exciting projects, are where it's more sort of system-led work. So rather than simply just being the front-end website, it's where a business has a process running behind the scenes, and what we can do is tie the two together and really make everything work in harmony, so that, for example, if a customer logs an inquiry on the website, it drops automatically into the system behind the scenes. Then the life cycle of that client is tracked through whatever custom process there might be. Because what we find is that a lot of people try and use off-the-shelf systems, and they try and shoehorn their processes into these off-the-shelf type packages, and it just doesn't work. So if we can do something, they have great businesses. If we can design something that matches their existing business that does really well, and tie the web into it, but also save them a load of time and money, that's really exciting. And when you're able to see those end results, that's what really gives me a lot of pride in what we do.
Yeah, it's a win-win, isn't it, for everyone?
Absolutely.
And for all you listeners, Larry's team, Studio 444, built the Brilliant Businesses website, and obviously, so take a look at that, and you can see firsthand what a great websites they build. And what I like about it is how easy it is to use and navigate. And when I want to upload to it, it's very simple. I know exactly what to do. It makes my life very easy. And we all like a bit of that, don't we?
Hear it. Wonderful. Yeah, we've designed our own content management system.
Right.
So there are systems like WordPress out there that a lot of the listeners might have heard of, which is great when used as intended. But what we find is it's far too complicated for most people, but also you can do a lot of damage with it, whereas our system is locked down so that it's very easy to use, very quick. You can't break it, and fully supported as well. So if you're then struggling for time or inclination, we've got our support team ready to dive in and make any changes, which I know you make use of as well.
Yeah, so absolutely. And I think probably a lot more secure than some of those other sites, maybe.
There's massive implications there, yes, because WordPress is open source. Any bugs or fallibilities are open to the wider world. Ours is a closed source system, which means that it is far less likely to be compromised in that way, and that's a major consideration for a lot of clients.
Yes, it is. Larry, thank you very much for sharing all that with me and us. I think your story is great, especially starting at 14, and I don't think you'll probably ever be able to work for anyone else ever again.
I'm utterly unemployable, yeah.
Which I love. I love that. I think it's really cool. If you like what we're doing, please subscribe to us. And if you want any advice or any information about websites, or if you'd like a new website or anything about them, all Larry's contact details are on the Brilliant Businesses website. They're underneath this podcast. It's great to see you, mate.
And you, thank you very much indeed for having me.
It's a pleasure, and we'll see everyone for another podcast soon. Thank you.